My beloved brothers and sisters, there comes a time in life when Allah allows you to fall apart. Not to end you, but to rebuild you properly. And in that moment, you are taught a powerful lesson. Rebuild yourself and stay silent. Silence does not mean you are weak. Silence means you are wise. Not every pain needs to be explained, and not every struggle needs an audience. Some people ask questions not because they care, but because they are curious. Others listen only to judge. Protect your heart by choosing silence. When you rebuild yourself, start from where it truly matters, your connection with Allah. Before fixing how people see you, fix how Allah sees you. Repair your salah. Return to your dua. Strengthen your trust in Allah. Because when your relationship with your Creator is strong, everything else eventually falls into place. Allah never wastes your pain. Every hardship is a workshop, not a punishment. He removes what is harmful, reshapes your character, and strengthens your reliance on Him. If Allah wanted to destroy you, He would not teach you patience. If He wanted to abandon you, He would not bring you closer through difficulty. Stay silent while you rebuild. Not everyone deserves access to your healing process. Even a seed grows in darkness. If it were exposed too early, it would never become a tree. Your growth also needs privacy. Let your effort be between you and Allah. The strongest rebuilding happens when no one is watching. A quiet prayer, a sincere tear, a whispered dua in the depth of the night. These moments rebuild broken souls. Allah sees what people never will. And when Allah sees your sincerity, that is more than enough. You don't need to announce your progress. You don't need to explain your journey. When Allah lifts you, people will notice without you saying a word. And when Allah delays, it is because He is still perfecting something within you. Forgive, even if it is difficult. Holding on to resentment slows your healing. Forgiveness is not for others, it is for your own peace. Let go and allow Allah to replace what was lost with something better. When you finally realize that Allah knows your intentions, your struggles, and your silent battles, the opinions of people become lighter. Rebuild yourself for Allah. Stay silent for Allah. And trust me, when the time is right, Allah will let your transformation speak louder than any words. My beloved brothers and sisters, silence is not emptiness, and it is not weakness. Silence is strength. In a world where everyone feels the need to explain themselves, to defend themselves, and to announce every step they take, choosing silence is a form of wisdom that protects your heart, your intentions, and your relationship with Allah. Not every situation deserves your words, and not every person deserves your explanation. Many times when something hurts us, our first reaction is to speak. We want to tell our story, justify our pain, and prove that we are right. But silence at that moment can save you from regret. Words spoken in emotion often return as wounds later. Silence, on the other hand, allows your heart to settle and your mind to clear. It gives you space to remember that Allah hears even what you do not say, and He understands even what you cannot explain. There are people who listen to your struggles not to help you, but to carry your story elsewhere. Others listen only to measure you, to compare or to judge. Silence protects you from such harm. When you stay silent, you deny others the power to misinterpret your journey. You place your trust where it belongs, with Allah alone. And when Allah is the one you speak to, you never need to fear being misunderstood. Silence also guards your intentions. When you talk too much about your plans, your goals, and your rebuilding, your sincerity can slowly weaken. You may begin seeking encouragement from people instead of strength from Allah. But when you keep your intentions hidden, they remain pure. You work not for applause, not for sympathy, but for the pleasure of your Lord. And what is done for Allah grows stronger, not weaker. Our faith teaches us that restraint is a sign of intelligence. A calm tongue often belongs to a strong heart. Silence is not surrender, it is control. It means you choose peace over argument, dignity over drama, and patience over reaction. How many conflicts would end if we simply paused, stayed quiet, and remembered Allah before responding? Even in moments of injustice, silence can be a shield. This does not mean accepting oppression, but it means choosing the right time and the right way to respond. Sometimes Allah elevates you not through your words, but through your patience. He sees who remained quiet when provoked, who trusted Him when misunderstood, and who chose dignity over revenge. Silence gives you clarity. When you reduce noise around you, you begin to hear your own soul. You recognize your mistakes, your strengths, and your areas for growth. This self-awareness is essential for rebuilding. Constant talking distracts the heart, but silence allows reflection, and reflection leads to transformation. Remember, Allah Himself is as Sami, the all-hearing. You do not need to raise your voice for Him to listen. A silent tear can reach Him faster than 1,000 spoken complaints. When you choose silence, you are not ignoring your pain. You are placing it in the hands of the one who can truly heal it. So stay silent, not because you have nothing to say, but because you have learned where to speak. Speak to Allah. Trust Him with your heart. And watch how silence becomes your strength, your protection, and your path to peace. My beloved brothers and sisters, when life falls apart, the instinct of many people is to rush outward, to fix their image, to repair their reputation, to prove their worth to those who doubted them. But true rebuilding does not begin there. It begins within. It begins with your relationship with Allah. If that foundation is weak, no matter how impressive the structure looks on the outside, it will not stand. Many people appear strong in front of others, yet they are fragile in private because their connection with their Creator has been neglected. Rebuilding yourself is not about becoming louder, more visible, or more admired. It is about returning to sincerity, humility, and obedience. It is about asking yourself an honest question. How is my salah? How is my trust in Allah? How is my reliance when no one else is around? When you strengthen your relationship with Allah, everything else starts to realign naturally. You stop seeking validation from people because you feel secure in knowing that Allah sees you. You stop chasing approval because you are content with His pleasure. This inner peace cannot be purchased, performed, or pretended. It is granted by Allah to the heart that turns back to Him sincerely. Hardships often expose the true state of our relationship with Allah. When things are going well, it is easy to feel close. But when doors close, when people walk away, and when plans collapse, that is when the heart reveals where it truly stands. Rebuilding begins when you return to Allah, not only for solutions, but for comfort, guidance, and strength. You begin to realize that Allah was never distant. You were simply distracted. One of the most powerful acts of rebuilding is correcting your private worship. A prayer performed with presence. A dua made with full dependence. A quiet moment of remembrance that softens a hardened heart. These actions may seem small, but they reshape your soul. Allah looks at consistency, not perfection. Even a small step toward Him is met with mercy far greater than you expect. When your relationship with Allah improves, your patience improves. Your reactions change. You no longer crumble under pressure because you know who is in control. You may still feel pain, but you are no longer lost within it. You understand that Allah does not test to break you, but to bring you closer, and that understanding becomes a source of strength. Rebuilding within also means learning to trust Allah again, especially if you feel disappointed or hurt by what has happened. Trust is rebuilt by reminding yourself of Allah's wisdom, even when you do not understand His decisions. You learn that delays are not denials, and losses are often redirections. What Allah removes may be what was harming you, and what He withholds may be protecting you. As your connection with Allah strengthens, your character softens. You become less reactive, more forgiving, and more grounded. You begin to see life through the lens of faith rather than fear. And when your inner world is stable, the outer world loses its power to shake you. So rebuild yourself from the inside. Fix your heart before fixing your appearance. Repair your relationship with Allah before repairing your image in front of people. Because when Allah is with you, when Allah is pleased with you, nothing else truly matters. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most important lessons you learn while rebuilding yourself is understanding that not everyone deserves access to your struggles. Not every ear that listens is sincere, and not every question is asked with good intention. Islam teaches us wisdom, and wisdom includes knowing when to speak and when to remain quiet, and knowing who deserves to hear your story and who does not. Many people feel relief by sharing their pain, and there is nothing wrong with seeking help from those who genuinely care. But there is a danger in opening your heart to everyone. Some people listen only to satisfy curiosity. Others listen so they can repeat your story in a different version. And some listen so they can silently judge you. Protecting your struggles is not arrogance, it is self-respect. When you share your pain with the wrong people, you often leave feeling more drained than relieved. Instead of support, you receive opinions. Instead of understanding, you receive comparisons. Instead of comfort, you receive judgment. Islam encourages us to turn first to Allah because He listens without misunderstanding, He responds with mercy, and He never exposes what you confide in Him. Even the strongest people go through moments of weakness, but strength. Age is not measured by how much you reveal. Strength is knowing what to conceal. There are struggles that are meant to draw you closer to Allah, not to make you dependent on people. When you limit access to your pain, you allow your healing to remain sincere and focused. Look at how Allah created growth in this world. Seeds grow underground. Babies develop in the womb unseen. Even the most valuable things are protected while they are being formed. Your healing is no different. When you expose it too early, it becomes vulnerable to negativity, envy, and discouragement. Silence during struggle is a form of protection. Not everyone who smiles at you wants the best for you. This is a reality of life, not a reason for bitterness. Islam teaches balance. Be kind, be respectful, but be wise. Choose carefully who you trust with your pain. One sincere person who makes dua for you is better than 100 people who only talk about you. When you reduce the number of people who know your struggles, you increase your reliance on Allah. You begin to find strength in dua instead of validation, in patience instead of sympathy. This shift is powerful. It frees your heart from dependence on people's reactions and anchors it in faith. Sometimes Allah allows you to feel alone so that you turn fully to Him. In that loneliness, you learn that Allah is sufficient. He replaces what you thought you needed from people with tranquility and strength. And that realization itself becomes part of your healing. So protect your struggles. Not everyone needs to know what you are carrying. Share your pain with Allah first. Seek help where there is wisdom and sincerity. And remember, what is protected has the greatest chance to grow strong. My beloved brothers and sisters, it is very easy to believe that hardship is a sign of rejection. That when life becomes difficult, Allah is displeased with us. But this understanding is far from the truth. Trials are not proof that Allah has abandoned you. In many cases, they are proof that Allah is working on you. Hardships are divine workshops, places where Allah reshapes hearts, strengthens souls, and prepares His servants for something greater. If Allah wanted to destroy you, He would not test you. A test means you matter. A test means there is growth ahead. Think about how metal is refined. It must go through intense heat before it becomes strong and valuable. The heat does not ruin it, it purifies it. In the same way, your trials are not meant to break you, but to remove weaknesses, arrogance, and unhealthy attachments that would otherwise hold you back. Many of us ask, why me during difficulty? A better question is, what is Allah teaching me through this? Every hardship carries a lesson, even if it takes time to recognize it. Sometimes Allah teaches patience. Sometimes He teaches humility. Sometimes He teaches reliance on Him alone. And sometimes He teaches us to let go of what we are holding on to too tightly. Hardships also have a way of revealing truth. They show you who you truly are when everything is stripped away. They show you who truly cares, and they show you where your heart was attached. In ease, people feel strong. In difficulty, sincerity is revealed. And Allah uses that moment of honesty to rebuild you properly. It is important to remember that Allah never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear. This is not just a comforting phrase, it is a promise. The fact that you are still standing, still trying, still turning back to Allah means you are capable of carrying this test. Even when you feel weak, Allah is strengthening you in ways you cannot yet see. Hardships slow you down so you can reflect. In a busy life, we often forget Allah without realizing it. Difficulty wakes the heart. It pulls you back into prayer, into dua, into remembrance. That return is not accidental. Allah is calling you closer, not pushing you away. Sometimes the pain you experience is the process of transformation. Allah removes people, plans, or dreams, not to leave you empty, but to make space for something better. What you lose may feel irreplaceable, but Allah's replacements always come with wisdom and mercy, even if they arrive later than you expect. Do not rush your healing. Workshops take time. What Allah is building within you cannot be completed overnight. Trust the process, even when it is uncomfortable. Your patience in hardship is not unnoticed. Every tear, every prayer, every moment of restraint is recorded and rewarded. So when life becomes heavy, remind yourself, this is not rejection. This is preparation. Allah is reshaping you, strengthening you, and elevating you. And when the workshop is complete, you will emerge wiser, stronger, and closer to Him than you were before. My beloved brothers and sisters, many people believe that strength is built in public through recognition, praise, and the approval of others. But the reality is very different. The deepest rebuilding of a broken soul happens in private, in moments no one applauds, no one records, and no one sees except Allah. What you do when you are alone with Allah shapes you far more than anything done in front of people. There is a special power in private worship. A prayer offered when no one is watching carries a sincerity that public actions often struggle to maintain. A dua whispered in the quiet of the night comes from a heart that knows it has nowhere else to turn. These moments are heavy in the sight of Allah, even if they feel small to you. They are the bricks that rebuild what life has shattered. When the heart is wounded, it does not always need advice or attention. It needs connection. Private worship reconnects you with your Creator in the most honest way. You stand before Allah without filters, without performance, without expectation. You come as you are, tired, confused, hopeful, broken, and Allah accepts you in that state. This acceptance is healing in itself. Consistency in private worship is what slowly restores stability to the heart. One sincere prayer performed daily with presence is more powerful than many rushed actions done occasionally. Allah loves consistency, even if the action is small. Over time, those quiet moments of obedience soften the heart, strengthen patience, and increase trust in Allah's plan. There are struggles that words cannot describe. There are pains that explanations cannot capture. In those moments, private worship becomes your language. A tear that falls in sujood can express what the tongue cannot. Allah understands the unspoken. He responds to sincerity, not eloquence. And sometimes the greatest relief comes not from answers, but from being heard by the one who knows everything. Private worship also protects you from arrogance. When your best deeds are hidden, your heart remains humble. You are less concerned with how people see you and more concerned with how Allah sees you. This shift purifies intention and strengthens faith. A heart that seeks Allah alone is a heart that heals faster. In private worship, you rebuild your relationship with Allah at your own pace. There is no pressure, no comparison, no judgment. You grow quietly, steadily, sincerely. And just like roots grow beneath the surface before a tree stands tall, your faith grows unseen before it becomes visible in your character and actions. Allah never ignores private effort. What you do in secret is often what brings public ease later. A hardship lifted, a door opened, a heart settled. Many of these blessings are answers to prayers no one knew you made. Allah rewards what is hidden in ways that become visible at the right time. So do not underestimate your quiet efforts. Do not belittle your private dua, your silent remembrance, your unseen patience. These are not small things. They are powerful acts of rebuilding. When no one is watching, Allah is. And when Allah is pleased, your soul begins to heal, strengthen, and rise again. My beloved brothers and sisters, in a time where people feel the need to announce every achievement and document every step of their journey, Islam teaches us something far more profound. True growth does not require an announcement. When Allah is the one nurturing your progress, you do not need to advertise it to be validated. What is real will eventually become visible without you saying a single word. There is wisdom in allowing your growth to unfold quietly. When you speak too early about your progress, you expose it to unnecessary opinions, comparisons, and sometimes even discouragement. Not everyone who hears about your improvement will be happy for you. Some may doubt you, others may envy you, and some may unintentional. Lie weaken your resolve. Silence protects your progress until it becomes strong enough to stand on its own. Growth that is sincere is often subtle. It shows in your patience, in your restraint, in the way you respond instead of react. These changes cannot be announced, they must be observed. When your character improves, people feel it before they hear it. And when Allah is guiding that change, it carries a depth that no public declaration can replace. Announcing growth can sometimes shift intentions. You may begin striving to maintain an image instead of nurturing sincerity. The heart becomes attached to reactions, likes, or praise rather than to Allah's pleasure. But when growth remains private, it remains pure. You improve not to impress people, but to please your Creator. Islam encourages humility. And humility thrives in silence. A person who truly grows does not feel the need to prove it. They are content with Allah's knowledge of their effort. Allah knows the battles you fought, the habits you broke, the patience you developed. His recognition is greater than any applause. Consider how Allah allows growth to manifest in creation. Trees grow silently. Mountains are formed without noise. Even the human being develops unseen before being brought into the world. Noise is not a requirement for progress. In fact, the most meaningful transformations often happen quietly. When Allah decides to elevate you, no announcement can accelerate it and no silence can prevent it. Your responsibility is effort, sincerity, and patience. Allah handles the outcome. If He wants people to see your growth, they will see it. If He wants it hidden for longer, that hiding is protection. Silence during growth also teaches you discipline. It trains you to focus on consistency rather than recognition. You become less distracted by external validation and more committed to internal improvement. This discipline strengthens your faith and builds resilience. So do not rush to explain your journey. Do not feel pressured to display your progress. Let Allah shape you in peace. Let your actions mature quietly. And trust that when the time is right, Allah will allow your growth to speak for itself, far louder and more beautifully than any announcement ever could. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most difficult yet essential parts of rebuilding yourself is learning to forgive and to let go. Many people believe that holding on to pain keeps them strong, but in reality, unresolved resentment becomes a heavy burden that slows healing and weakens the heart. Forgiveness is not a sign of defeat. It is a sign of strength and maturity. When you carry anger and grudges, you carry the weight of the past into your present. Every memory reopens the wound, and every reminder renews the pain. Islam does not teach us to deny hurt, but it teaches us how to rise above it. Letting go does not mean what happened was acceptable. It means you refuse to let it control you anymore. Forgiveness begins with understanding that people act from their own brokenness, limitations, and weaknesses. This does not excuse their behavior, but it explains why holding on to resentment will never heal you. Healing begins when you stop expecting closure from people and start seeking peace from Allah. Allah loves those who forgive, and He promises great reward for patience and restraint. When you forgive for His sake, your heart becomes lighter. You free yourself from the constant replay of pain. You allow space for peace, clarity, and growth. Forgiveness is not forgetting the lesson. It is releasing the poison. Letting go also means accepting what you cannot change. Some apologies will never come. Some explanations will never be given. Some endings will never make sense. But your peace does not depend on understanding everything. It depends on trusting Allah's wisdom even when answers are withheld. When you forgive, you reclaim control over your emotional and spiritual well-being. You stop giving others power over your happiness. You choose healing over bitterness. And this choice, repeated daily, becomes a foundation for rebuilding your soul. Forgiveness does not happen instantly. It is a process. Some days your heart feels free, and other days the pain returns. But each time you choose patience over reaction, you strengthen yourself. Allah sees this struggle and He rewards it. Letting go also opens doors for new beginnings. A heart filled with resentment has no space for gratitude or hope. But when you release the weight of the past, Allah fills your heart with tranquility and strength. He replaces what was lost with something better, often in ways you never expected. So forgive not because people deserve it, but because your heart deserves peace. Let go, not because the pain was small, but because Allah is greater than every wound. And as you rebuild yourself, remember that forgiveness is not weakness. It is one of the strongest bricks in the foundation of healing. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most transformative realizations you can have while rebuilding yourself is understanding that when Allah is your witness, the opinions of people lose their power. Too often, we live our lives seeking approval from those around us, worrying about judgment or fearing criticism. But when your goal becomes pleasing Allah, the weight of human judgment becomes lighter and your heart finds freedom. People will always have opinions. Some will praise, some will criticize, and some will misunderstand your intentions entirely. This is a reality of life. No matter how careful you are, no matter how kind your actions, there will always be those who judge without understanding. If your peace depends on their approval, your heart will never rest. But when Allah becomes your witness, when your intentions and actions are aimed at Him alone, human opinion fades in significance. Allah is al-Basir, the all-seeing. He sees what is hidden. Hat is sincere, and what is genuine. He knows the struggles you face, the battles you fight internally, and the silent efforts you make when no one else notices. When you focus on His approval, your energy shifts from trying to impress people to nurturing your soul. You begin to act out of sincerity, not for validation. This does not mean that you ignore wisdom or advice from people. Islam encourages consultation, learning from others, and valuing righteous guidance. But there is a difference between constructive input and seeking constant approval. When Allah is your witness, you act according to what is right, even if others do not understand. Your decisions are anchored in faith, not fear of judgment. When you live with Allah as your witness, patience becomes easier. Criticism no longer cuts as deeply. Misunderstanding no longer wounds as sharply. You learn to respond with dignity, to maintain humility, and to continue your journey without needing recognition. This inner strength is priceless because it allows you to rebuild quietly, consistently, and with sincerity. Knowing that Allah is your witness also guides your intentions. It keeps your actions pure. When no one else is watching, you act for Him, and your deeds are multiplied in value. Even small acts performed sincerely gain immense reward. This awareness shapes your character, strengthens your faith, and fosters resilience. You begin to measure success not by what people say about you, but by what Allah knows about you. Your heart becomes lighter when you realize that ultimate approval comes only from Allah. The opinions, envy, or misunderstandings of people lose their grip. You are no longer dependent on social validation or fear of judgment. Your peace is anchored in the eternal, not in the fleeting opinions of others. You learn that what truly matters is the approval of the one who knows all secrets, sees all struggles, and rewards all sincerity. So rebuild yourself with Allah as your witness. Let your intentions be sincere. Let your actions be guided by faith, patience, and humility. Understand that people's opinions are temporary, but Allah's judgment and mercy are eternal. When you anchor your life in His approval, the chaos of human judgment cannot shake you. You find peace, strength, and true freedom. And this realization becomes the ultimate source of courage, guiding you through every step of your journey toward rebuilding yourself. My beloved brothers and sisters, as we reflect on the journey of rebuilding ourselves, one clear truth emerges. This process is not about the applause of people, the approval of others, or the immediate recognition of the world. It is about returning to Allah, strengthening our hearts, and nurturing our souls in silence and sincerity. Every hardship, every tear, every quiet effort in prayer, and every choice to forgive is a brick in the foundation of your renewed self. Rebuilding is a journey of patience, humility, and trust. It begins within, in the privacy of your heart, through your connection with Allah, your consistency in worship, and your reliance on Him alone. Silence becomes your shield, protecting your intentions, preserving your dignity, and allowing your growth to mature without interference. And as you continue this journey, you realize that the opinions of people hold little weight when Allah is your witness. What truly matters is His pleasure, His guidance, and His reward. Do not rush the process. Do not measure your progress by the eyes of others. Let every struggle refine you, every trial teach you, and every act of patience and sincerity draw you closer to Allah. Rebuild yourself quietly, rebuild yourself sincerely, and rebuild yourself with faith. In time, Allah will reveal the beauty of your transformation, not through noise or announcement, but through the strength, peace, and dignity that now define your life. Trust Him, rely on Him, and stay silent while you grow, for when Allah is pleased, nothing else truly matters. Your journey of rebuilding is sacred, and the rewards are eternal.